Today we want to discuss a very important topic, and that is understanding the concept of addiction. Now, before you jump into conclusion, I want you to listen to this video to the end, because this video is going to challenge your concept of what addiction is all about. For most of you, when you hear the word addiction, the picture that comes into your mind is somebody struggling with alcohol or drugs, or even the mad person on the street. Today's video is going to expand on that and also challenge your concept of what addiction is all about. Yes, it is true that people can struggle with substances or alcohol, but beyond that, there is the tendency to also be engaged in addictive behaviors. And some of those behaviors can be gambling, sex addiction, impulsive shopping, or impulsive stealing. And somebody might say, well, I don't engage in all these behaviors that you have mentioned, so why is it important for me to stick around and listen to this video? Now, some people may be engaging in activities that seems harmless, like drinking coffee every day, or drinking their favorite soda every day, and they have no idea why they keep going back to that same particular brand of soda, or they keep drinking coffee every single day, and if they don't have it, it feels like their world is turned upside down. Some of you out there may be, interested in energy drinks, and all these may seem harmless, but it's important to understand the activity and the behaviors that sustains why you keep going back to these things. Now, as a child of God, it's very important to understand something, and that is the human nature. Now, the Bible talks about man being a spirit, dwells in a body, and has a soul. The question is, which part of man is involved in addictive behaviors? For most of you out there, the first answer that comes to your mind is the body. Well, I'm here to disappoint you. The concept of addiction stems from the soul. The soul comprises of our will, our emotions, and our mind. Any activity that we do, whether it is the use of substances or whether we are engaged in any addictive behaviors like I mentioned, if it has to do with, let's say, masturbation, shoplifting, stealing, gambling, impulsive buying, or impulsive lifestyle, like addicted to, you like fighting, you like insult, and you have no idea where the urges and stuff like that comes from. It involves your mind, your emotions, and your will. The body definitely has the part to play in addiction. And the body is what we call like manifests what the soul has conceptualized. So the body develops what we call physiological dependence, either on the substance or the activity that you are engaging in. Now understanding this is important because the body in itself does not impulsively engage in things. What happens is your mind, your will, your emotion gets so wrapped up in the activity, and it leads to repetition. The repetitive nature of doing that activity opens the door to four main things that we want to look at. And for an activity to be considered addictive, there has to be the presence of these four things. The first one is compulsion. Compulsion is when you have the state of force or irresistible urge to do something. Compulsion is an irresistible urge to do something or to behave in a certain way. The other thing that we also need to know is obsession. And obsession is an intrusive thought that is hard to distract from. The thought preoccupies your mind. It is so hard for you not to think about it. It is so hard not for you to distract yourself from it. That is an obsessive thought. And people can obsess over a person or something. The third thing that we need to be mindful of is impulsivity. An impulse is a very strong urge to do something without thinking through why you need to do it. To say something why without thinking through why to say it. Or to behave in a certain way without thinking through why you need to behave in that way. And the fourth thing that we need to know is when someone continually engage in that activity or behavior regardless of negative consequences. So 4 things: compulsion, obsession, impulsivity, and continuing to engage in the behavior regardless of negative consequences. Now that you know these 4 things, I want to give you a litmus test. Next time you are engaging in activity or a behavior that is so hard for you to do without, I want you to ask yourself, is there the presence of compulsion? Am I doing this because there is a state of force, an irresistible urge to do it? Or is there the presence of obsession? Is this thing occupying my mind so much so that it's hard for me to distract myself from it? Or impulsivity? Am I doing this without thinking through why I need to do it? And do I continue to do this regardless of any negative consequences? If you do this test and you find out that there is at least the presence of one of these 4, then beloved, there's a tendency that you're opening the door to becoming addicted to that behavior or that activity. Now, for those of you listening to me and you are struggling in any way, whether you are addicted to pornography, addicted to masturbation, addicted to gambling, addicted to drugs or alcohol, addicted to unhealthy behaviors, it can be even like excessive eating, or you find yourself repeating an activity over and over and over again, and you have lost control over how to stop it, I want to tell you it is not hopeless. As a child of God, it is not hopeless. The Bible says in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 14, and it says that, "Heal me, O Lord, and I will be healed. Save me, and I will be saved. For you are the one I praise." It is important as a child of God to recognize that God has the power to heal. But beyond that, it is also important for you to understand that you partnering with God is important for your recovery. In addition to that, remove yourself or remove anything that sustains that addictive behavior in your life. For instance, if you hang out with friends or family, or you go to places that reinforces that addictive behavior, you want to get rid of it. Also, for most people, they think that, well, if I want to get rid of addiction, I just have to do 1 or 2 good things and that's it. No. It is important for you to understand that if it took you a year or 2 or more for you to be addicted to that activity, it's equally going to take you a year or 2 or more to be able to reroute your emotions, your will, and your mind away from that negative activity into a positive behavior. Very, very important. the consistency in a healthy behavior will help to minimize the impulse, the obsession, and the compulsion of you to engage in that negative activity. Also, you want to surround yourself with positive people. You can also engage in counseling. It can be individual counseling or group counseling. Engage in healthy eating activities or behaviors. You want to really eat healthy because your recovery is holistic. Besides the physical stuff, you also want to make sure that you're eating healthy food. You want to make sure that you're exercising. You want to make sure that your spirituality is intact. And you want to surround yourself with people who would encourage you and support you. There is a saying that anything that you do not confess, guess what? Takes hold of you. So besides confessing that this is not good and I need to turn away from it, besides saying that to yourself, you need to confess that to God. You need to confess that to an accountable partner so that it will help you to walk through your recovery process. I want you to know that it is not hopeless. There is hope for recovery, but it takes your understanding of the concept of what addiction is. And for those of you who are engaging in behaviors and you never thought about it, that there is a tendency for you to open the door for compulsion, obsession, impulsivity, and the repetitive nature of doing that activity. Now you know. And you want to guard your mind, your will, and your emotions, since this is the center place for addictive behaviors. Thank you for sticking with me to the end. And please don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Once again, this is your girl, Dr. T, Life Reconsidered. Join me another time for an inspiring and educated video. Stay blessed.